Alright, it would be appearing that we are recording. Question is, are we recording well? And that is what today's video is about, because I have been struggling, I say, to get good audio. I've been getting some good advice from people. If it seems like I'm arguing with you, I'm not. I love that car. It's not, I'm positive just from all the research I've been doing that the problem stems from the actual microphone itself. That can be made worse by having the gain too high or not being able to lower it enough, but it has to do with the SPL, sound pressure level, and there's a max SPL that your microphone is rated for. And when you go above that noise, like a loud bike, like the roar of the wind, both of them, a gunshot, whatever it may be, chainsaw, you know, whatever it is we're talking about, there's a certain point where you go over that noise level, the microphone just goes, and it's like being at a concert. You're too close to the damn speaker and it blows out your eardrums, and your hearing is just ringing, and, you know, it's electronic, so the mechanism's a little different, obviously, but it's the same kind of thing where you tend to you get over that noise level, and it starts damaging your ears. It does actual damage with the microphone. It might not damage it, but it will damage its ability while that noise is that loud of recording the way that it's supposed to. Oh, come on, old people, let's go. So I could try different hookups. I could try boom microphones. I've heard those actually work pretty well, because I think those tend to be a lot less sensitive. And that's the thing, it's a microphone sensitivity. The microphone that you want to clip under your shirt and have hidden and pick up a conversation while you're doing an interview, you want it to be very sensitive, so it hears nice clean voice, clean audio, and you're not having to shout. And you know, lest people struggle to hear you and stuff like that. I need a microphone that's more like what someone might have on when they're singing at a concert. And while the speakers are facing towards the audience, there's that loud ambient noise, and you don't want that just blowing out the audio. What I'm getting is clipping when I get to a certain dB level, and it seems like it's more the wind noise than the exhaust. But I've got my microphone up inside my helmet. I've got it protected by not just the wind sock that it came with, that foam thing that covers, you know, gets rid of some of the wind noise. I take another larger, thicker one and put that over the small one that's on the microphone, and then it's tucked up inside the cheek piece in my helmet. But my helmet breathes fairly well, and you go over 80, 90 miles an hour, and it really, the wind noise is kind of loud. It's loud to my ears. I can hear how loud the wind noise is. And you have that, and the sound of the motor, and all that stuff, and it just overpowers the microphone and starts to get clipping. And I had some people say, well, my last video on this sounded pretty good. It did, because I didn't really go over a certain speed. It was a lazy ride. But here, I'm hearing the wind noise in my helmet. It's loud. This is a loud helmet. And that's the thing, I look at what other people are doing for theirs, and a lot of times, you know, especially when you're looking at bike reviewers, a lot of those guys are riding stock motorcycles. They may have a quieter helmet, but they're also typically riding a quieter bike because it's got the stock exhaust. Sounds like a sewing machine. You'll hear you'll hear it. It's not entirely silent, but it's not, you know, that. It's certainly not as loud as my MT10, which is insanely loud. Basically straight piped. Got a little bit of muffler and a resonator chamber, but no cats, wide open muffler, short stubby muffler. It's a loud bike. You add that to the wind noise and suddenly you're getting crackling. And that is the microphone itself. Because I can look at the audio levels in iMovie and I can see where it peaks and goes red. And even if I reduced the level of the volume, the crackling's still there. I can make it not sound as loud, but then when I'm talking and it's not noisy and it's not at that point, then you're struggling and you can't hear me. So, you know, there's a big difference in the audio level between me sitting at the traffic light, idling and chatting with you, versus me trying to talk or going down the road with the, you know, bouncing off the rev limiter at 100 miles an hour. Those are two vastly different noise levels. And so for a microphone to be able to pick both of them up clearly and make the quiet sounds sound normal and you're not straining to hear, but in it being more sensitive that way, then the trade-off is that when it does get really loud, it might run into that sound level limit. So when you look at your ratings for your microphones, it's a SPL, sound pressure level, and it'll usually give you a max. Any of the decent ones will give you a max level. Now the one I have been using lately is the $100 Rode LAV2, and that SPL is rated at 110 decibels. My exhausts are as loud as that. You throw in the wind noise and all that stuff, and I know that at high speed, at high RPM, I am absolutely exceeding that. And that's where I get, and that's where I get the crackling. And as soon as I slow down, crackling goes away. And it doesn't matter if I've got the gain on the camera at negative 18 dB. It doesn't, I can't get rid of it. So the only way to get rid of it, I found, was to have, you know, a different microphone. And when you look at some of the wired and powered microphones, those tend to have a higher SPL. There's the Insta mic, which I have not tried yet. It's $200, but I may try that. That actually Bluetooth. You just mount the little box up inside your helmet, and it Bluetooths into the Insta360 using the AirPods connection. And that thing, you can adjust the gain and everything through the software, turn it down, and then you've also got the SPL rating on that is 130 decibels. Now the one I've been using is 110. Right now, what you're listening to is an Xvive, Xvive, V as in Victor, L2 or something like that. And it says it's rated at 123 decibels as the SPL. Now you go, well, that's only 13 decibels more than 110. Now someone will correct me, I'm not an audiophile. But from what I remembered, every 10 decibel increase is doubling of the volume. It's a weird rating system. So if I'm correct, and someone, again, correct me if I'm wrong, don't have to be a dick about it, but go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong. But if I say that 90 dB is roughly twice the volume, maybe it's 50% more, but it's not linear in that, like a dial on a stereo where you're going from 1 to 10 and going from 4 to 5 is a, you know, whatever, a 10% increase. It's not like that. Every 10 dBs is a massive jump in noise. And so if I am just, you know, with the one that sounded okay until I really get on the gas, it got higher speeds, and that was a microphone that was rated for, the SPL was 110 dB. If this one is accurate at 123, then it should negate most of that clipping. There. It's like 90 something degrees out today. Yeah. What does it say? Yep, 90 degrees. Like butter. shiz. Or is it the sniz? Saw Chris Moore posted a video yesterday of he's got a CBR 1000 RRR SP. It's a lot of R's, and made 191 at the wheel. It's a goddamn beast of a bike, and I'm like, Honda, if you can do that, and obviously you win MotoGP races, you know how to make horsepower. So why are most of your bikes so bland? And when you finally come out with one where it's like, wow, that's a goddamn leader bike, you're charging $29,000 for the freaking thing. It's like, son of a bitch. It's like, bring some of that sauce, some of that spicy flavor, bring that down to, you know, the regular 1000 RRs and sell them for 19 grand like everybody else. Maybe you don't need the electronic suspension and some of the other craziness, but at least bring that motor down, man. All right, we're gonna get up and go a little bit. All right, what are we at? 84. As soon as I see a little ways down the road, we're gonna get it up and speed a little bit and see if we can do that. I'm specifically not going to crouch. I don't want to get behind the windscreen. I want the worst case scenario. All right. All right, I wasn't looking at the speedo, but I know I did glance down, and we were in the upper 130s in third gear. Oh, this thing is so retarded. And it's just smooth. It just kind of whisks you away. All right, WRX boy. He's pulling aside. He knows. Spicy meatball, and it's just so effortless. Like it just pulls like a goddamn freight train, and it's just relentless. But it doesn't feel like it's straining at all. It doesn't feel like it's trying hard. It's just like, all right, boss, we're gonna go fast. You want to go fast? We go fast. Forget about it.